Konnichiwa! Balls. Welcome back to the Retro Gamer Boy Show. My name's Mike, and I was hoping to do this week's show alive, because this week we're going to take a look at the 5 best arcade games that you should play this Halloween. But we've never missed an episode yet, and we're not going to let something like death get in the way of us checking out some awesome arcade games. Now, talking about arcade games, I'm joined every Wednesday by Sega Head, where we play on this old thing at Live at the Arcade. This is where we play some classic beat-em-up games from the 80s, 90s and early 2000s. If you want to get some arcade action, then join us Wednesdays at 9 PM UK time, 1 PM Pacific time and 4 PM Eastern time. Now, I love arcade games, and most of them were either driving games or violent games. And what better way of spending Halloween indoors this year than by playing one of these top 5 arcade games. 5. At number 5, we have House of the Dead by Sega. Now, House of the Dead is a classic arcade on-rails shooter, and one that helped define a genre. There were 6 games in the mainline series, and it spawned a ton of spin-offs, my favourite being House of the Dead Overkill. Now, House of the Dead, along with Resident Evil, have been credited with popularising zombies on our home consoles and arcade screens. And with the game released, it was an instant classic, with fast-paced gunplay, witty dialogue, and some stunning character design. The series usually revolves around some bad guy releasing some virus into the world, and there being a ton of monsters and zombies for you to take care of. Now, most arcade horror games of its time were on-rail shooters, but for this top 5, it's the only on-rail shooter you'll see. Next up, Splatterhouse from Namco, released in 1988. It's our earliest arcade game that's perfect for this Halloween. Now, Splatterhouse follows Rick over here, who's a parapsychology student who's wandering the woods with his girlfriend. And he is one ripped, nerdy guy. Now, Rick and his girlfriend find themselves in a right pickle in a house full of nasties. And Rick's girlfriend is taken. And it's your job as Rick to don the terror mask and to rip the living hell out of all these ghoulies living in this house. The game is a traditional left-to-right scrolling beat-em-up, but it does have some interesting branching mechanics later on in the game, which allow you to complete a level by taking multiple options to its end, either by going up ladders or falling down holes. The game is a gory beat-em-up fest, and in fact was banned in some arcades in Europe and America. Animation is great, the blood is awesome, and it's a perfect arcade Halloween game for you this year. Mutation Nation by SNK, released in 1992. Set in the future, this multiplayer beat-em-up sees you chasing down a genetic virus that's turned the local population into snarling mutant beasts bent on killing you. The game follows the traditional beat-em-up formula, except it introduced sub-bosses into its levels, meaning that you had to take on and take down a sub-boss before you could make your way to the end of level boss and progress on to the next level. The game was originally released on the Neo Geo MVS, and it is one of the best beat-em-ups in the SNK catalogue. It has some stunning graphics, amazing animation, and a brilliant soundtrack. Alien Storm! Oh my god, you can get sick as a ghost? Alien Storm is a game by Sega released in the arcades in 1990. Originally, it was billed as a beat-em-up shooter because instead of your fists and clubs, you were armed with a future laser gun. In Alien Storm, aliens, funnily enough, have invaded the Earth and are hell-bent on taking it over. But you and your gang of 2 other members are there to prevent it. The game was visually stunning for its time. Even though it came out in the early 90s, it looked more like a game from the mid-90s. It had a stunning animated intro and some amazingly rendered sprites and environments. Alien Storm also mixed up the beat-em-up gameplay by introducing gun galleries, where armed with your futuristic cannon, you had to blow the living hell out of an environment, and every single thing in this environment was destructible. It was a visual feast of destruction. If your thing is blasting aliens this Halloween, then Alien Storm is right up your street. Night Slashers, a 1993 game from Data East. And unlike most of the games that we've seen in this top 5, Night Slashers is relatively unknown. And you guessed it, this is another beat 'em up. This time, you're pitted against some classic pulp horror characters. Bad guys like Frankenstein's monster. Although, I'm not sure he was a bad guy. Maybe he was just misunderstood. Dracula, the Mummy, and Death himself. And before you get to any one of those classic Halloween bad guys, you have to face down an army of zombies. Night Slashers is your classic hidden gem. It is a stunningly visual game, and some of the animation is so gory and detailed, especially the deaths of the zombies. And if you're playing any games this year at Halloween, then definitely make sure that Night Slashers is on your list. Well, this has been fun, but I really need to get back into this lumpy old thing so that I can get back to playing some of these classic arcade games. And remember, we're going to be live on Wednesday with Live at the Arcade. Right. Whew. Oh, Jesus. Well, that was something new. And if you want something new, then we put out brand new retro gaming videos every Monday. You can get notified as soon as we have one by clicking on the little bell just below this video. Now, if you can't wait until Monday, then we have a huge back catalogue of retro gaming videos for you to enjoy. 2 of which you can find over here.